expect a lot from him. So, you know, this is going to be a really interesting fight. When I was looking at it all earlier, this is...
So to the super welterweight division then, there is Samuel Nmowah, 14-0. Nigerian-Italian boxer in the black trunks. His opponent is Kassimou Mouhamadou in the black trunks trim with red. This one's scheduled for 8. He's, I think, a 6-foot super welterweight, Nmowah. Absolutely huge, fitting a lot into that frame, and he's well muscled too. Good balance. He's got a nice snappy jab, picks his shots well, and he goes through the gears nicely too. Feinting with the feet there, just trying to draw something back from Mouhamadou. It's a double jab, upstairs and down. He's a patient starter, Nmowah, and he's compact too for a tall fighter at his weight. Doesn't waste much. Stiff jab through the middle.
Lovely jab. Didn't retract his shoulder, just shot straight out for where his hand was resting. Really, really nice jab.
And you will see him if he grows in confidence in the fights. We have seen him in the past. He can kind of throw it from the hip too. He does tend to keep things nice and tight in the early stages,
which is intelligent, and this is a really good start. It's a nice punch pick in there though. From Mouhamadou, yeah. Off the right hand as well. Just tipped his body weight over, set up the sort of up jab, as they all call it in the States.
Yeah, I think Floyd Mayweather calls it like a spear jab or something.
Yeah.
Drop the left shoulder and fire it up through the middle. He's kind of got his own rules, isn't he?
Yeah, he sure has. He was doing that in the amateurs. Yeah. He was doing that way before it was a thing.
He also used to kind of throw it without turning the knuckle over, just to keep the glove nice and narrow so it could fit through those gaps.
Very intelligent. Very intelligent.
Stiff double jab there. Just a little lay back in between the two of them from Nmowah. Very little movement in this first round. They just kind of occasionally just switch places at the centre ring.
Yeah, they should have, kind of met in the centre of the ring. Both trying to assert their dominance.
Just briefly see the concentration in the eyes of Mouhamadou.
Yeah. Both guys are not looking to put one foot wrong, which is good to see. So I think after this first round, Chris, I think we're going to be prepared for a tactical battle here. Neither lad looking to really assert their dominance or be very physical. You could be forgiven for saying it was a bit of a battle of the jabs, really. Still, good stuff to watch.
Well, this, if it goes the distance, will be his first 8-rounder for Mo. He's been a pro for 5 years, so they've moved him at a leisurely pace. He's probably understating it slightly. At some point soon, he's going to need to really step up. And this certainly represents that in terms of his record so far. Just the 4 stoppages for him as we go into round number 2 here. To come, remember the main event, Fabio Turki and Dylan Brajon, the vacant EBU European Union Cruiserweight title, our main event in Milan. The return of Francesco Patera to action as well. Just misses with the right hand there, Nmowah.
Nice.
On the turn, nice uppercut through the middle, wasn't it?
Good head movement as well. He never took one shot there. And that onslaught from Mouhamadou, it was really impressive head movement. And then to find the shot at the end of that was very, very good. It's quite hard to tell who the taller fighter is here.
Nmowah is listed at 6 foot.
Right.
And he certainly just, as they kind of come side onto the camera, you can just see he's got a couple of inches in height. But certainly Mouhamadou's not short either.
No, he certainly isn't, no.
These guys are making, what, 154 pounds?
Yeah. They're in fantastic condition, though. I've seen more body fat on a nail than what's on both these guys.
I've never heard that before.
I don't know where on earth it came from either, mate. First thing that came to my head.
You weren't in bad nick in your day, so maybe you heard it. Maybe someone said it to you.
Subconsciously sitting there at the back of the brain.
And just signs that maybe something that Nmowah has landed has got through, because Mouhamadou now just on the move, whereas he was kind of at centre ring for most of the first round, and he's just starting to give up centre ring a little bit at this point.
Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, and it's not chosen. It looks like he's been moved back. You know, he's maybe for the first time felt one of the shots there. Maybe not liked it too much.
And that lead hand of Nmowah is just starting to be the difference.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
And you did say he changed the level of his jab. You know, from the start he was jabbing from a very high guard. Now it's, like you said earlier, because it's coming for the hip a little bit more now. But equally as sharp and effective.
Yeah, he almost goes slightly Philly shell at times, just with the kind of lead hand across the body, so he can fire it as a jab there. And again, as he says, harder to read. It hits you at a different angle.
Yeah.
It gives you opportunity to fire the right hand behind it.
Yeah, it's a good jab. He's also keeping Mouhamadou guessing as well. Lovely flicks, double touches there with the lead hand. Nothing came behind it, but you can see his intentions.
It was a nice exit over Mouhamadou, just on a 3-punch combination. 1-2 left.
Slipped off to the...
Yeah. And he's just switched momentarily.
That was a headbutt to the stomach.
Yeah, you see that very often.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that very often at all.
He's got Scottish relatives, I think.
Of course, Nmowah is Nigerian heritage, one of a number of Nigerian fighters who's emigrated to further their careers over the years. Henry Akinwande, of course, born in London to Nigerian parents, moved back and returned to England in his 20s. I think he won Commonwealth heavyweight title. Of course, Herbie Hyde reached the mountaintop twice against Michael Bent and Tony Tucker.
Yeah, sure did, yeah. Very, very underrated fighter as well, Herbie Hyde, who's very good.
And physically, they're just a different type of athlete, the Nigerians. Super, super strong.
Tremendously long-limbed as well.
Yeah. And this is, well as Nmowah's boxed, from what I've watched of him so far, looking very compact, dictating well. And this is, as we say, representative of a level of opposition he hasn't yet faced, but he's dealing with it very, very comfortably. Stiff jab there from Mouhamadou. He's again just trying to stay off the ropes. See him just take a step back and then just turn on his front foot. doesn't want to give up ground too easily. Just did that perhaps a little bit too much in the second round. Gave Mouhamadou the initiative.
Targeting the body there. Mouhamadou, good left hook to the body.
We were talking about front foot pressure in the Kassimou and Petronic fight. I think this is really what we're seeing from Nmowah here. He's economical, but he just inches in very slowly with that front foot, just makes the space belong to him. Pushes you back with that jab, always feel like he's the one that's got the physical imperative.
Yeah.
And there is just that little shade of,
nice.
of sort of that Michigan-style Philly shell defence there, just slipping and rolling with the right hand pinned up to the right temple, and he knows what he's doing there.
Yeah, he done it very well. Yeah, he did. He done it very well. And then back on that good jab again.
I do sometimes see, especially American fighters, I think, overuse that a little bit, and they can sometimes get caught around the side with it. It requires a pretty nuanced timing, but
it certainly does. Yeah, it's a very new thing.
Yeah.
You know, in boxing for, you know, the boxers to try, because of course they've seen so much success that Floyd Mayweather had with it. But you know, it is an old style, but I think you really have to grow up being taught that style from a young age,
yeah,
for it to be very, very effective. And as we've seen with, you know, the fantastically talented Adrian Broner, even it didn't quite work for him, and he was absolutely brilliant, you know.
Yeah. Well, those arcing shots over the top, certainly from Marcus Maidana,
yeah, exactly.
It can work against the straight shots, but when those shots are kind of looped in over from different angles, it's a different thing altogether.
Yeah, then you really, you know, you have to be Floyd Mayweather to deflect those, you know.
Well, yeah, 24 rounds with him, didn't he? They were difficult rounds too. It's just starting to heat up it.
It really is, yeah. Mouhamadou seems to be coming back after his second attack as well, not just waiting there for, you know, to be hit with the jab again. He seems to be firing back after his first initial onslaught, which is quite good. You know, he's given Mouhamadou something to think about here.
Left hook at the same time. Mouhammadou's hand position was good though. Just caught the left hook on the glove.
Yeah.
Yeah, just quickened the feet up and started to let his hands go, just to see what Mouhamadou was made of in that round, and just forced his opposite man to start letting his hands go too. No, he looks comfortable though.
Yeah, not breathing heavily at all.
Not at all. So solid exchanges after a reasonably quiet start to this one in Milan. And all eyes tomorrow, remember, on that world middleweight title clash. Demetrius Andrade and Wales' Liam Williams. Can the Welshman go over and cause the upset?
Touchy gloves there. I think that was with the way that the last round ended.
On the graphic on your screen, this is round 3 of 8. This is round 4, just for those of you that are joining us. Mouhamadou just trying to measure that range as he steps off with a jab.
Yeah, both guys are. They're both still measuring each other, even here in the 4th round, and it just gives you an inclination at, you know, how tactical this has actually been.
And it's been just enough coming back from Mouhamadou to make it
competitive.
Yeah, and to just cause that little bit of hesitation rather than Mouhamadou just kind of charging forwards. He knows that he can't just do that. He has to patiently work his way in off that left and then the right hand. You see how he keeps coming back after he'll initially make an attack, and then he'll maybe get tagged with something in response, but he answers back right away afterwards again, Chris, and I think that's making a difference to this bout. Yeah, it is. He walked into a stiff right hand that time as well. Almost like a second phase attack, if you want, although it does look like he's only answering back. He's not actually following up an attack. But he's waiting for the lead, isn't he? Yeah,
he is, yeah. But he's also given an answer after he's tagged on the return, so
Nmowah's got 4 stoppages in his 14 wins. He's not a concussive knockout artist, but then at the same time, he hasn't, as we say, this is his first 8-rounder, and sometimes you need that time and the rounds to get your opponents out of there. So we don't really know. He doesn't look overly concussive, but he looks solid enough.
Yeah, he looks like he can hit with a bit of respect.
Yeah.
Looks like to me right here he's waiting on a right-hand lead, so he can come back with the backhand with the left hand, but...
And a southpaw now too.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah, but Nmowah's a little bit too intelligent for that. He never threw one right hand there.
Just after the switch, he then got caught with a right hand too. Yeah. And that's the danger, isn't it? You get caught in almost in that phase of switching just while you're resetting and
yeah, you've got to be careful, yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to reset your brain as well, you know, you've got to reset your brain and, you know, where you are. So, yeah, it's a dangerous game, switching. Unless, of course, you're Terence Crawford.
Yeah, in which case it's only dangerous for your opponent. Yeah. That's good work, just manoeuvring him with the forearm there, just positioning him for that short left hook up the middle, and then just using that touch jab as well, just to occupy the guard.
Waiting a little bit too long, though, to get something off. You know, it's a couple of touch jabs is fine, but try and get something off, you know. Touch jabs don't score points, so...
You can sometimes get warned by the referee as well for just kind of prodding in the opponent's face, leaving it there too long. So, as you say...
Lost a point for that once I did in the amateurs.
And it's obviously stayed with you enough
to remember it. Yeah. Actually, if I hadn't lost the point, I would have won the bout.
I knew that was what you were going to say.
So it was very, very disappointing, and it was actually in South Africa. Yeah, still regret that to this very day.
Oh, the things you hang on to. Every boxer's got one.
Yeah.
Every boxer's got one.
Or 20.
Yeah. So it is round number 5 coming up.
Yeah.
Next, the graphics on the back just got out the wrong side of bed this morning. So Samuel Nmowah is in control of this one, but he's also in a competitive scrap with that man Kassimou Mouhamadou, who's been boxing pretty well on the back foot and giving certainly a decent percentage of what he's been getting back, but you would say to this stage, through the first 4 rounds, he has lost every round so far as we have seen.
Yeah, I would have to say he has, yeah. Although he's definitely been picking things up and answering Nmowah back on more occasions than he was early on, where he was on the end of that jab.
I think the referee's asking him to just take a little bit of that Vaseline off. It's kind of looking like a face pack at the moment. Really. So Nmowah back on the jab as we head into the 5th round.
Yeah, it's been the key point in this bout, is his jab, and he's made it work to very good effect as well.
His feet are good too, Nmowah, just kind of cutting off the ring and mirroring the footwork of Mouhamadou, just to make that space small. And he hasn't crowded his work too often either. Judgment of distance looks pretty good.
Yeah.
All the fundamentals are there now, and you'd say really if he does get through this, as it looks like he's going to, barring some kind of major disaster, this is really the time where you'd say, right, let's step him up against someone decent domestic opposition, either someone a little older that's been there and done it and is kind of just over the other side of the hill, or someone around his level too.
Yeah, they can just give him something different to look at, something different to deal with.
Because he looks very, very competent. His right hand over the top there.
Yeah.
Mouhamadou, as you say, just waiting a little bit too long as he pours that jab out. And that's the danger. Uppercut just skimmed the forehead.
That's a sharp right hand.
Yeah, no telling that right hand either. Just pushed it straight from the shoulder, as you alluded to earlier. Mouhamadou just changing that lead hand position just to try and draw him in, and was looking for that left hook counter.
Yeah, he's waiting a little bit too long to drop that right hand in off that paw and jab. You do get the feeling that if he was just to let it go, after a couple of light jabs at least, he's eventually going to hit the target. But Mouhamadou is very slippy, isn't he?
Yeah, well, that's the Vaseline, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice uppercut through the middle. And again,
off the 1-2 that time. Good defence there as well. Expending very little energy there.
Yeah, growing confidence in he punching with him too.
Yeah, he's stepping up on him a little bit more now as well. Mouhamadou's realised that there actually and tried to back him up. That's actually a good tactic as well, rather than just wait there.
Short left hand to the body from Mouhamadou, just skips and switches to southpaw. Just touching that lead hand, just fencing with it. Two southpaws in action. Coming up after this, the big punching Ivan Zucco, 12-0 with 10 knockouts against Luca Capuano for the vacant Italian super middleweight title. That one's over 10 rounds before the return of Francesco Patera.
There's that short, sharp right hand that he never gave away. He sneaked it through. That was the one that you called, Chris, the 1-2. Followed by the left uppercut. Just previous to that, he just threw a left uppercut on his own, and it had success with that as well. So still creating opportunities for himself to land a variety of punches, something that you look for in a good boxer. Both guys don't look tired at all, do they?
Really well conditioned. Very little tell in either's faces of any kind of discomfort. Just a little bit in the eyes of Nmowah, just perhaps a little bit of blinking there. He's caught a couple of shots on the way in. Certainly Mouhamadou looks very, very comfortable with this pace indeed. Nice clean contest. There's very little holding. Both kind of punching at all distances too, exchanging well. And Mouhamadou, as this contest has gone on, has had to box on the back foot, but he's picked his shots really well. He's kept it competitive. Stiff jab through the middle.
Yeah, lovely sharp jab. Such a good weapon for him, isn't it? I would imagine it'll improve as well over the next few years.
Leads with the right hand, stepped in, then just shortened up that left hook to the body.
Both boys had success there with body shots.
He's adjusting his range well too as he steps in to shorten the shots up, then he gets back to distance. And again, good head movement. You see the variation which he defends is impressive too, as he sometimes uses the hands and covers up tight, sometimes just slips and slides.
Yeah, just uses the waist movement, yeah. Good strong core will help with that. And as you can see, both guys are in very good condition. Not letting the hands go inside there though. Opting to just tie each other up.
Nice pull counter right hand there from Mouhamadou. Just turns off on the angle. He's got an underrated skill set, the French fighter, given that he's been under quite a considerable amount of pressure throughout the contest.
Yeah.
He actually looks like he's got time and space. He doesn't look under pressure. Nothing about his body language says that he's rushing his work.
No, or he's having a really hard time.
Yeah. It's a big difference. Certainly the scorecards may reflect that Mouhammadou's had the lion's share of the last 6, but certainly Mouhamadou's been very competitive in all of this.
Yeah, he keeps answering back as well, so
it's just been a case of who's been the more effective aggressor in this, which is the main sort of point of difference between these two. And
the most dominant as well, certainly.
Yeah. Teddy Atlas describes it as the log in the ocean, which is moving which, and at the moment Mouhammadou's the ocean and Mouhamadou's the log, just being moved around, but as you say, still in there, still firing back. It's been a nice contest to watch as well.
Yeah, it has.
Mouhamadou just working away on the inside.
Yeah, I was about to say, a little bit inside work there.
Yeah, he's shown a little bit of everything over the last 6 as we now move into new territory. for that man. He's completed 6 rounds on a number of occasions, including his last contest against Onyen Raukovic. It was in Rosano at Christmas. Well, unfortunately, our Italian is non-existent, so we're waiting to find out, as you are at home, what the cause for the delay is.
Maybe something to do with the timekeeper. I think there may be...
Well, the rounds, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
This was agreed for 6, and yet they found out it's 8.
Maybe so, yeah.
It's the only thing I can think that would cause this amount of discussion at the end of the 6 rounds. And of course, as we saw those rounds coming up on the graphics, maybe it's that. But we're back on. We'll try and get an answer for you there, what that was all about. But anyway, we're back to it now. So a little extended break for these two, and I imagine that will mean the energy levels will just be replenished that little bit more. We might just see a raise in tempo for these last couple of rounds. Left hook for a moment, just whistled past the glove of Mouhamadou. Oh, he's just walked him into a nice right hand, then a short uppercut on the inside there. Pushed him back. Decent 7th round for the Frenchman. This has boxed well on the outside.
Yeah, he has. His movement's given Mouhamadou trouble. He doesn't seem to have really found his feet yet.
Amazing how much extra recovery you can get as a top level fighter in just 30 seconds. It's a game changer, as I'm sure you'll know.
Yeah, I mean, he was barely breathing as it was. So
he's ready for another 12.
Yeah,
but now he's a little bit more static, and now Nmowah goes to work, just rocking those shots in on the inside. But again, Mouhamadou responds really well.
Yeah, and moves ahead well as well. Nmowah letting up just a flurry of body shots go, but that's good boxing again, Chris.
Yeah, and I tell you what, when you look at the punch stats at the end of this fight, even though the pattern of the fight has really been mostly for Nmowah, there won't be a great differential in the punches thrown to land.
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so, no.
Just been that. You can see the difference as they both threw the jabs there. It's just the force and the power behind it. It's the moment that's landing the effective, or the more effective punches.
But he's had a very good round here.
Yeah, Mouhamadou has.
Mouhamadou has, yeah. Probably his best round so far. Yeah, good shot, right hand there. It's really heating up, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. If he can finish this one strongly, Mouhamadou, I think that's a round for him in the back.
Yeah, I would say. If he gets another couple of shots off.
Switches southpaw, just right hand glance the cheek of the Frenchman.
Well, looked like that round finished a little bit short there, Chris. I think it looked like there was still 10 seconds to go on the clock. So maybe what we were witnessing before is maybe clearly a problem with the timekeeper.
Yeah, it's obviously an issue there somewhere, isn't it, this evening, but That can happen sometimes.
His glasses will be lying around somewhere. He needs to dig them up. Well, here's a good round there from Mouhamadou, and he must be, him and his corner must be pretty happy with this round, because he had some success, possibly more success than he's had.
Yeah, you see there, just 2 short shots on the inside, and they just shut that space down. Sometimes safer is actually, or closer is safer, should I say. Well, that's definitive at least.
Yeah.
The last round between these two, what's been a very competitive and good contest to watch between Samuel Nmowah in the black shorts trimmed with gold and Kassimou Mouhamadou, who's had to spend large portions of the contest on the back foot around the perimeter of the ring, but it's given as good as he's got in spurts. It's just been the cleaner, sharper and heavier hands of Nmowah that have been the difference really over the last 7 or so. Can Mouhamadou pull anything out of the bag in these last 3 minutes?
Well, going on what we've seen, you wouldn't think so. But again, it's what's so exciting about boxing. You just never know.
Lovely work there from Nmowah. Right on the inside, then the lead uppercut.
But yeah, like you said, Chris, this really has been a good contest to watch. We've seen a little bit of everything here. Answering back well there again. Mouhamadou. He's really not settled for anything. He's always been there or thereabouts.
Yeah, see the moment, just kind of levering him back with his forearm,
yeah,
trying to create that space. I think he's better when he's punching a little bit longer. This kind of distance, hard to unwind those long levers, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah, and he doesn't seem to be able to get off with a jab from that range as well. He just tends to paw it out there and nothing really comes behind that, so something that they can work on. Small technical flaw that can easily be changed.
Mouhamadou just almost looks like he's poised for a slip counter, but he waited too long, just caught by a chopping uppercut again on the inside.
He's had success with the left uppercut, hasn't he, throughout?
Yeah.
He's used it very well, particularly well off the 1-2. He throws the 1-2 and then he just chips that uppercut through the middle afterwards. Oh, good punch picking there. Slipped inside the jab and threw a left uppercut and a straight right hand in really short, neat space as well. Nice to watch.
Yeah, Mouhamadou just stepping off, taking the sting out of those shots and just
throwing his own right hand as well in the way. Little feints there from Nmowah. Mouhamadou didn't react to any of them though.
Well, it's been a decent step up this for Samuel Nmowah. He's been really waiting for it for quite some time now. 5 years as a pro. No doubt we'll see him move to 15-0 when those scorecards are right. Certainly if they've seen anything like what we have, which has been pretty conclusive, you have to say, though competitive nonetheless. And it's really now what they do with him. And as I mentioned earlier, someone like Orlando Fiordigilio, 36 years of age, now a bit of mileage on the clock. He's boxed over 200 rounds. Could be good timing for Nmowah if he wants a domestic clash to get people interested, get people talking about him, with a reasonable name on his record as well. And I think someone at this stage of his career, with the tools we've seen tonight, that he could have success against.
Yeah, he could, yeah. And it was a really good bout, that. It really was a good bout. Both guys had success. But just to reiterate what you said, Chris, you know, there was a dominant figure in there, and it was certainly Nmowah. He was the guy on the front foot throughout the bout, working off that good jab, picking some lovely uppercuts throughout. Worked to the body every now and then when he got inside, with flurries, mainly with flurries.
Yeah, and the hallmark of class, Alex, is, as you well know, see fighters just showing a little bit more of their arsenal as the fight goes on.
Yeah.
Didn't see too much from him early. He was nice and compact and just worked behind the jab, didn't give him too many openings, kept the hands high. And then we just saw shades of the various different defensive and offensive techniques that are in his arsenal as he went on and grew in confidence. And you know, the ability to punch on the move too, especially when you've got a good mover like Mouhamadou. That's a good sign as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, there will be, of course, question marks over the power, but there certainly aren't too many question marks over the level of skill. Very, very competent fighter, as is that man there. David Diamante, the back of your shot there, just totting up the scorecards. Always double, triple checking.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of action here in Nmowah, we go to the judges' scorecards, and they read as follows: 79-73 twice, 78-78.